filtered. Second, a fundamental flaw that keeps businesses one step behind attackers. So the truth is, it's time for a reset. So our next speaker will unveil a new era of email security where trust isn't assumed, it's earned. Together we'll discover how patented zero trust approach delivers the strongest threat defense possible while giving you the calmest inbox that you ever had. Because in cybersecurity, trust should never be the default. Please give me a hand of applause welcoming our next speaker, David Setzer.
I'm here to talk to you about diamonds, sugar, and cigarettes. Was he good? Pretty fantastic. What about this? Does this do anything for you? Does that raise your blood pressure a little bit? Create a little bit of extra anxiety just hearing that? Well, why? Why does it do that to us? Well, it does it because email's broken, and we all know it. Email is not the technology or the invention that it was created to be. If you think about it, this technology and this invention really, for the human race, is as meaningful as the telegraph wire or the printing press, because it allows us to communicate with anybody, anywhere around the world. But what is it now? It's hundreds of messages in our inbox every day from people that we really don't know and we don't want to hear from. And sprinkled in those hundreds of messages are a couple little time bombs every day. And all that has to happen is for one of our users to click on it, and it ruins businesses, careers, and as we all know, even lives. But what happened to the technology? What happened to it? It's not what it's supposed to be. Email has become now a chore that has to be managed, or worse yet, a threat that has to be feared. I don't think this is what the inventors of email envisioned when they created this technology. You know, if we'd talked about this a decade ago, that number would probably have been 50 or 60%. But we are talking about something that sits on every phone, on every desktop, that is the prime, I mean, this is not really just, you could probably call that more than the majority, the prime attack vector in cyber attacks. And we're just sitting there waiting on our users to click on one of these messages. And unless we can respond in this kind of time right here, then we're always going to be behind the game. We're always going to be behind. We're always going to be playing catch up. Because it takes about 21 seconds, this is an average, 21 seconds for any one of our users to click on a phishing message. And within 49 seconds, they're breached. One single user in an organization that can bring down an entire company, an entire career. Now that's the security side of it. We know that email has another problem too, and that is simply the noise. It's the messages day after day after day from people that we don't know, that we don't want to hear from, that keep clogging up our lives. And what happens is the noise of these messages makes the security harder. You know, I was walking down the hall a little bit ago, and I don't know if he's in here or not. He may be in that hacking lab. And I saw a guy with a shirt on, and it said, "Don't scan my badge." Literally, "Don't scan my badge." And at first I thought, that's pretty funny, right? Because what happens, you come here, you get your badge scanned, right? And then what happens? Your email explodes. And then I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, what a sad state of affairs that we're in. By the way, if you are in here, you got that shirt on, come by our booth. Our folks will give you a new one. We'll solve that problem for you. But what is sad that has become a joke now, to wear a t-shirt that says, "Don't scan my badge." Why? Because I am so sick of all of the crap. I wish I could just throw this away. Ultimately, our problem is a trust problem. Email has a trust problem. And we're at the great spot, really the best spot to be talking about that at this event this week. That's why we exist as an organization. We've been doing this for over 20 years. And we exist to turn this technology back to what it was meant to be. We believe that the faster you can communicate, the faster we share ideas and plans and information, the faster we move forward as the human race. And we believe that this tool, that this technology is a key to doing that. And so we exist to return this technology back to what it was supposed to be. But here's what you've got to ask yourself. If you're going to solve the problem, if you're going to figure this out, you have to figure out how it got started. You have to go back to the root cause and solve the real problem. As we say, we want to be penicillin, not aspirin. We want to solve the problem. We want to cure the disease, not just cover up the symptoms. So if you're going to go back, you got to go back to where this was created. You got to go back to how it was created, the underlying assumptions it was created for. This is when email was created. This is the ARPANET in 1973. And what's key about this, and key to understand too, is that email is not an application that's owned by anyone. As you know, email is the expression of the SMTP protocol. It's a fundamental protocol of the internet. And this is what the network looked like when it was created. So, what do we see when we see this network? You know, we've got 17 or 12 or 13 or so nodes here. And let's say you're Susan at MIT, and you get a message in your inbox from Bob at Rand Corp. And you may know Bob or you may not know Bob. But likelihood, the chances are that message, if you're exchanging research or information, you're going to know him. But if not, that message is still going to have information that you want. It's going to have information that you need. It's going to be something that you want to read from Bob. It's not going to be Bob sending you a message asking you to go get 10 gift certificates from the Sears and Roebuck catalog and mail them to him. It's going to be something, that's a joke, you can't laugh. Or was it just a bad joke? But seriously, it's going to be something that Susan wants to read. It's going to be something that she wants to know. Because if not, Susan's manager is going to be calling Bob's and say, hey, like we're good on the Sears and Roebuck gift certificates. What's Bob doing over there? But why? Why is that the case? Why could she do that? Or why does this exist in this environment? Because the network is closed. You had to have permission to get on the network. You had to be trusted to get on the network. You couldn't just get an email address or an inbox. You had to be vetted. It wasn't everybody at MIT or everybody at Rand. You had to be vetted. You had to have a reason. You had to be verified to be on the network. So because the network was closed, the protocol was opened. So SMTP was created as an open protocol. Email servers used to be open relays. They would just take any mail from anywhere and send it to where it was supposed to go. That was the concept of this open communication mesh. That got destroyed pretty quickly. But this is the key. This is where you have to go back to and understand. Because the network was trusted, the protocol was opened. And the problem is, or not the problem, but this is why email was created the way it was, like a postcard or a letter, that you can write anything you want on the return address or anything you want on the letterhead. It doesn't matter. It's like dropping it into the blue box on the corner. And then the problem is that the network opened. So now, as the protocol was created for a closed network, the network opened, and we now have billions of nodes with access all around the world. Anybody that wants one has one. And we're still living with the same assumption. We're still living with the assumption that everything is good. That was the assumption of the SMTP protocol. I want everything. Give me everything. Everything is good. And so, as an email security industry for 30 plus years, we have been fighting the wrong side of asymmetric warfare because of the assumption. From literally forced labor camps in Southeast Asia to hackers in Russia, Eastern Europe, anybody anywhere spends 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day targeting a shop floor manager in Middle America. And at some point, the defenses are going to crumble because they have access, complete global access, as you heard Chase talking about earlier, complete access. So we've got a problem with the protocol. And how have we tried to solve it? So we call this security theater because really that's pretty much what it is. Here's a great one that we started with. We started tagging the subject lines. Now, this was aspirin, not penicillin. Why do we tag subject lines? Because we got the CEO emails. Hey, Joe, I'm in a meeting right now. Can you go grab 10 $50 Amazon gift cards? I want to give them to these customers and shoot me over the cards and the pins. And Joe, who's been working there for a week, is like, sure, let me go do that. Be right there. Here they are. Now, that tactic is not very successful anymore because it's been educated, and we tried to put these messages up here. But what did we do? We just created noise. So now, because of that, every single email that we receive that's not from somebody in our company has this external in the subject line. It's like the disclaimers for mutual funds. Nobody pays attention to them because we've just created noise. Here's another great one that we do. We throw these, we call them Post-it notes, up all over our email. And this one gets me. Let's walk through this one for a second. Caution. All right, caution. This email originated from outside the organization. More noise. And by the way, we've already done that in the banner, but let's just go ahead and repeat ourselves right here. Do not click links or open attachments unless you recognize the sender. All right, well, it's the CEO, whoever Jeff Whitaker is, Danny Jenkins, David Setzer, it's the CEO. I recognize him, so I'm good to open attachments and click links, right? I had a friend tell me their son got phished the other day in his personal email, and the message was from him. Dad. Well, D-A-D, I recognize Dad, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Well, it wasn't from Dad. So do not click on links or open attachments unless you recognize the sender and know the content is safe. People, what are we doing? We are security professionals. And what we have done is said, hey, physician, accountant, shop floor manager, lawyer, marketer, figure out if this is safe. You do our job. Don't click it. Don't do anything unless you know it's safe. How do they know? How in the world are they expected to know it's safe? Do you know what this is? Let's just be straight up with it. This is nothing but legal CYA. This is nothing but covering our own ass. When this organization's breached, and it will be, and depending on what they have deployed internally as to how bad the breach will be, but when they're breached, this is nothing but our own CYA to say, hey, I told them not to click on it if it wasn't safe. Hey, I told them not to click. We told them they shouldn't have clicked. That's nothing but CYA. This is pure security theater. And then we ask them to keep doing our job for us. This email contains harmful content and it looks like it could be. This is real, folks. Like, we didn't make this up. These are real notices. I mean, sometimes you look at them, you're like, please tell me this isn't. This email contains harmful content and looks like it could be a phishing attack. Like, what do you want to do, recipient? What do you want to do, user? What do you want to do, nurse who's trying to see 30 patients today and respond to them? What you should do. My daughter is an NP at a hospital system, and she's like, yeah, I just click phishing all the time because I don't know what to do. And she shouldn't know what to do. I want her saving people's lives, not determining if her email is a threat or not. Simple as that. And then we still manage these block and allow lists. Like, let's block these and allow these. This worked like literally maybe 15, 20 years ago, but it doesn't work today. We have to do something different. And what different looks like is resetting trust. We have to reset the trust on the inbox and put the user back in control. You know, we're at the perfect place to be talking about this. You know, zero trust is a fundamental cybersecurity principle, right? I mean, it was, what, firewalls of the 80s? I mean, that's kind of the genesis of zero trust. It's a fundamental principle, and it works. The problem is, how do we deploy it? And that's what we have to figure out, is how do we take this principle and deploy it? We have to flip the script. Interestingly enough, nobody has deployed this to the email space. One reason is because of the protocol and the usability. And there's some other tools that you have to have and things that you have to do to deploy this well. But you have to flip the script. You have to turn the assumption of the protocol from everything is good, let's figure out what's bad, to everything is bad, let's figure out what's good. We have got to stop trusting everything to the inbox and put you back in control of the inbox if we're ever going to fix the email security problem. That's what we did with over 10 years of conceptualizing and 3 years of work on the Apex platform with the product that we've recently launched called Shield. So, I said deploying zero trust was actually hard. It's actually not hard. Deploying zero trust to email is actually really, really easy. But the problem is you create earplugs when you do it. What you have to do instead of creating earplugs is what we've done is create noise-canceling headsets. And that's what we call Shield. It's noise-canceling headsets for your inbox. It's the only application of zero trust to the email security problem. And it's a product that's nothing like it on the market, nothing like it that you've seen, because we've taken the principle and turned it on its head of accepting everything and figuring out what's bad. One thing that you have to do to be able to do this, you have to be able to see the data in transit and at rest. You have to see the data coming in, the data going out. You have to be able to see the data and the user behavior at rest inside the inbox. Instead of Post-it notes that are CYA warnings, we give users actionable intelligence in plain English. Whether it's your users, your administrators, your L1 techs, our goal is to create it and to deliver the message in a way that the lowest, I don't want to say lowest, let's say the lowest common technical denominator can read it and understand it and do something with it. We created X-ray for the inbox. X-ray is a place that you can find out what's going on with a message. You can figure out in real English what's happening, whether it's an impersonated sender, a dangerous file, or a trusted contact. This is stuff that doesn't land in the inbox. We analyze the links. You have to do a full link analysis and then give the user, what we say is we give your users and your administrators the tools, but we take away the knives. So when they look at a message in X-ray, it's a completely sandboxed image. They can't hurt themselves with it. They can actually click on the link. We'll follow the link chain in our sandbox, and they're not going to be able to hurt themselves with it. Of course, you have to analyze files. That's really kind of old school. That's kind of pay to play, but you have to see what's actual payload of the message. An interesting capability that we've added in is the ability to lock messages inside the inbox. So you've got sensitive data. I mean, how much institutional knowledge exists in the inbox these days? Yeah, we've got all these other places to store it, but how much knowledge is in the inbox? Well, when our 365 account is compromised, wouldn't it be nice to have our sensitive data encrypted so that the bad actors can't gain access to that content? The other thing that we do is we provide details on the message in plain English, so your techs and your admins don't have to figure out how to sort through headers. Timelines for complete audits. And then I was having a conversation with one of our partners earlier, which we talked a lot about. IT is kind of like insurance and some other products. When it works, nobody knows. When it works, everything just happens. So we have to be able to have the ability to tell our users and show our users what we're doing to justify what's happening. So we've got the ability and the capability to put that in there. When you change the script, when you flip the assumption, you can then start to use AI in a way that's very different. And that's to analyze behavior and figure out what's good. And when I say what's good, it figures out what the user wants. We can use it in different ways to figure out the security threats. But see, we know it's been, a year or 2 years before ChatGPT that AI writes better phishing messages than humans do. Well, so if we're just going to create AI to read the phishing messages that AI writes, then we just got a bunch of AI bots fighting each other, and we'll end up in the same spot. But when you can turn the assumption on its head, which is deny and figure out what to accept, now you can use AI in a completely different way. We've created the ultimate peace of mind and assurance for the 365 inbox and for the 365 platform. The other thing that we knew and that we figured out is that you have to be able to deploy it. You have to be able to put it into your environment, whether it's internal IT or as an MSP into your customers. It can't be insanely complicated because you got to get over that hump. We've got a saying that security without usage is useless. So we've created the capability to deploy it in less than 60 seconds with complete gateway capabilities, but no MX record changes, with complete edge to inbox protection. That's what we've done with email security. We've been working on these concepts ourselves for over a decade, been building it for years now, and putting it into users' hands. And what we're hearing is, I finally understand and see what this was meant to be. I'm using email again. So we'd like to help you use email the way it was intended to be. Thank you guys. Enjoyed being here.
All right. So before you get up and head out of the room, I do want to give you some information about the next concurrent sessions on our agenda. So when employees bypass IC to personalize tools or adopt software independently, they create security gaps, compliance challenges, and inefficiencies. In our session, The Dangers of Shadow IT, we'll share real-world examples and strategies that mitigate these risks while maintaining productivity. That is going to be happening right here at the main stage in less than 2 minutes. Do you really know how much your information is valuable on the dark web? At 2:45 or 5 minutes from now, you can get an expert guidance from our cybersecurity engineers to learn how to access the dark web and the tools that can assist you in getting to these marketplaces and forums. And lastly, you can uncover unique security challenges in our session, Endpoint Risk for Linux Environments. This session explores common vulnerabilities, effective hardening techniques, and potential pitfalls when securing Linux endpoints. You'll also learn how to balance segmentation, mitigate application abuse, and manage privilege escalation. So join us for that insightful conversation in 5 minutes from now from the breakout room number 1. Now go use the washroom, fill up your water bottles, and make sure to get some of that swag at the swag store. We'll see you back here in 5 minutes. Thank you.